Okay, Lions. Getting a few things set up here real quick. Throwing you some links you can take a look at on your own. Excuse me. Gosh, got a lot of stuff to cover. All right, Lions. We're starting to show up. Okay. How's everybody doing today? Beautiful day over here in Roseburg, that's for sure. Kind of got on a little bit earlier because, well, we're seeing the timestamp on my computer is a few minutes later than on the phone. So I'm trying to figure out why it keeps changing. Only does it incrementally by a few minutes at a time. But so we got LD in the house, Mr. Barry, Mr. Pat. Hey, how y'all doing? Sweet. And Miss Loma's in the house. And so, all right. So anyway, let's get started. All right. So with everything that's been going on and a few other things we'll bring you some updates on, we'll get you started. So welcome, Lions. I'm Paul Romero, your host and write-in candidate for Oregon governor. Running for office is not a for-profit endeavor when your heart and head are in the right place. I recognize the work ahead and have committed myself to fixing everything that I can. I want a better life for everyone, free from the overreaching interference by those who just want to control us all. Reduced, if not eliminated, income taxes, fees, building permits, licenses, property taxes, etc. We need people in office who represent us and abide by the same simple philosophy of fiscal fiduciary responsibility. Greedy representatives start to see dollar signs and they lose focus on who they are there to serve. They also rather be wined and dined by the Chinese Communist Party, which falls under the caveat of treason. Many legislators are way too familiar with the Chinese Communist Party or are too stupid to realize that they are what they are doing. Another reason they shouldn't be representing us. You can't claim stupidity. And there's a statement by Betsy Johnson. Says, yeah, have I made stupid decisions? Yeah, I've made stupid decisions while I was in office. Part of the deal in being a representative of the people is to be in there to actually read bills and to not be stupid and to admit it. Just, do you really think Betsy Johnson is stupid? I really don't like to think of her as being stupid. I think that she knew full well what she was doing whenever she did it. So to plead stupidity by any elected official is really a death blow. Okay? So it's like Drazen, who apparently she doesn't read bills for full comprehension. I guess her degree in communications was more about speaking than understanding. So maybe she needs to go get her money back from George Fox University. The one that Kate Brown paid $10 million to get them here into Oregon. Yeah, really interesting how that works out, isn't it? So yes, one of the big signs that was put up off Highway 140 west of Lakeview, Oregon, for my write-in campaign was removed by unscrupulous individuals. We are currently trying to figure out who it was that did it, and we're asking everybody to keep an eye out for anybody. See, we don't have a whole lot of signs up at this point, but the ones we do have are important. So if you spot anyone interfering with any candidate signs, please take photos and report it to your local law enforcement. This is a crime. Now, for me, why do I never give up and never surrender, even when the evil elements that contact me try to impose their own nature of quitting on me? For example, in one recent email, I noticed somebody made a statement, and I'm going to read this to you. Let's see. Okay. Why can't Paul realize that by endorsing Drazen, he'll have a much better chance at working in a Republican administration than in a Democrat administration? I agree we need Paul making decisions and influencing policy in Oregon, but the first objective in helping to make that happen is to make sure Kotek loses first and foremost. Guys, we've already talked about all three of these candidates, Kotek, Drazen, and Johnson. And all three of them are not going to be good for Oregon. None of them have laid out a plan. It's going to be pretty much the status quo. That's what they've agreed to with all those who've actually funded their campaigns to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. Those millions and millions of dollars did not come from us, the voters. And this attitude, it's like selling yourself out. I'm not here for second place. I'm not here to compromise Oregon, even though these other candidates obviously are. When you run into attitudes like this, the first question I have is, well, what did you do to learn about a candidate, or what's going on? Did you just give up without a fight? Yes, that's what I'm learning. Most of these people are doing exactly that. They give up without a fight, without any effort at all made. And that is a problem. Are those the kind of people that we want in office, that push that type of mentality? No, not at all. Those are people willing to compromise themselves, to further themselves. I am not going to compromise myself. Not now, not ever. If I want to be a true representative of the people, I can't afford to compromise myself or allow myself to be leveraged. And when somebody tells me I need to do that to get ahead, it's not about me getting ahead. But eventually, at some point, Oregonians, voters, are going to do the right thing. At some point, we'll get enough information in their hands and in their heads so they can make better decisions. But I'm not about to compromise on any of that. Excuse me. So, rather disappointed in the individual who actually said that. So, it's not in my nature to give up or surrender. I'm a fighter in the arena of life. And this battle happens on many levels. It's exhausting. It's emotional. It's physical. It's intellectual. It's spiritual. So whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, doesn't matter. It is the battlefield we find ourselves on now, and we must fight this battle however we can with whatever each of us can offer. The recovery and restoration of Oregon to a constitutional state is our trophy. So now let's all get on the field of battle and do our part. I can't win this on my own, nor do I want to. This victory and the efforts to get there must be shared. So please join Team Oregon and share my contract with Oregon and the other write-in candidate flyers. We can do this. It's just a matter of if we together will do this. I'm all in, and I know many of you are too. So let's get the rest of Oregon all in too. Now, the first link I had posted up here was the Chinook Forest Management. Now, recently I spotted a comment by a fellow Oregonian. We'll call her Lori T. And she reported a rather disturbing observation. While taking a drive near Crater Lake area, she saw that there were a lot more signs posted that said no trespassing, etc. Now, these signs are posted by Chinook Forest Management, LLC. It appears that the forest is being bought up, according to what she said, her observation. Now, the website for Chinook Forest Management, LLC states, and I quote, "We manage private forest land with emphasis on economic, environmental, and social sustainability, land stewardship, and longevity." Economic sustainability? Well, that doesn't sound so bad, as long as you're actually using your resources and cycling them. So, of course, we can go along with that. Environmental sustainability. Wait a minute. We've heard this before. Social sustainability? By what? Limiting people's access to the land, including the state-owned public land, right? Okay, so guys, whenever you hear the word sustainability, if your radar doesn't pop up, if your red flashing light doesn't go off in the back of your head, you're broken. So let's get that light fixed. So more words that matter, that have no place in our America First vocabulary. Now, land stewardship, yeah, we need to be good stewards of the land. Has Oregon and the people that have been in control of the land been good stewards here in Oregon? Absolutely not. They have failed grossly. So, and then they talk about land stewardship and land longevity. I got news for these idiots. The land longevity is going to way surpass anything that we're going to survive. It has been here since the beginning of time. It will be here beyond when this race is turned to dust. So there's nothing spectacular they're going to do to really make it better. especially by limiting things. Okay. But, but you better get their definitions on the words that they use. Okay. Because I'm sure they're not using the definitions that we're accustomed to in our dictionaries. Now, they further state, and I quote, all management decisions, including closing properties to public access, are the result of a thoughtful process that takes into account the interests of the communities in which the properties are located, but also the risks and challenges associated with working forest ownership and management. Unfortunately, these challenges have only grown in recent years with hotter, drier conditions, leading to a significant increase in the likelihood of human-caused wildfire and more population pressure in rural areas, resulting in increased damage to infrastructure and illegal dumping of materials on managed lands. These trends have prompted the owners of CFM managed lands to close high-risk properties to public access. They continue with, we understand that closing property to public use is frustrating for those who seek to responsibly recreate. Unfortunately, however, it is often the only way to continue to safely and effectively manage these lands for the production of timber and other values private working forests provide. Dear Lord, what is wrong with these people? They're trying to sell you a bunch of stuff that's really just taking your access to everything. You know, when I was in Boy Scouts in Central Oregon, everywhere we traveled, everywhere we went, we would have a campfire. Campfire was always managed. It was always manned. We always had water to put it out if we needed to. We made all these accommodations. And when we were done in our campsites, all we left were footprints. We would take apart our fire pit. We would make sure all that stuff was buried and churned up and watered down and not a single bit of smoke or even heat off the fire. That's how we were responsible. Now, if a bunch of kids, Boy Scouts, can accomplish that, the truth is most adults can do that too. Well, that's what it's going to come down to. Responsible adults. You know, we've camped over at Allen Creek Reservoir, and we've always had a fire there. We always managed it, took care of it, made sure it was out when we left. No problems. You see, there's responsible people, but they keep trying to tell us all that none of us are responsible. Therefore, they can't trust us. That is their justification for doing what they're doing. And we got to kind of put our feet down. But especially this little company, because I'm going to read you something more that I learned about them. But it gets better here. I'm going to go on with what they said. Quote, we replant the acres that we harvest. Replanting is not only required by law, it is core to the future of our business. Well, duh. Recently harvested areas that are replanted are the foundation of the next generation of our forest land operations. On average, we harvest less than 2% annually of the total area that we manage. Now, they don't list how many acres they manage. However, they give you a little comparison that states that means for every 1,000 acres we manage, about 20 acres are harvested per year. Forest practices require that we replant and harvest a harvest unit within 2 years of harvest, and trees must be free to grow. Free to grow? I'm guessing within 6 years. I got to go familiarize myself with that term. They're free to grow. Okay, you're free. You can grow now. I don't get that. So what am I missing here? We don't know how many acres they actually manage, how many acres they're shutting down to all of us, and yet that's who they are. If you go to their website, you can see who the people are that run it. And I'm really curious as to how they got this gig, how they built this company, and how many actual acres they currently manage. Because I'll tell you right now, there's an awful lot of acreage that just gets burned every year. So you either log it, grow new trees, or you burn it. And right now, the policy with the U.S. Forest Service and what have you is pretty much to burn it, to let it burn. Well, that's the natural process. It doesn't have to be. We can use those resources and keep our air quality much better. So when the gal that I saw this post, she began to research the companies affiliated with this management company. And the words that kept popping up are, conservation, carbon credits, World Forestry Center, decreasing forests due to logging, humans, etc. Well, I got news for you guys. Humans, we're on this planet. We're not leaving anytime soon. At least I hope not. And also a photo of the World Economic Forum is present on their website. Locations include Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and British Columbia, Canada. It certainly would appear that our forests are being purchased by a few large investors. So if you're interested in our current Oregon forest protection laws, you can check them out. I believe I put that in the chat. Let's see. Oh, wow, got a few things going on here. All righty. Hey, Shauna, good to see you. And we got Terry here. Mr. Larry's in the house. And Miss Jennifer, of course, is here. All right. Okay. Show's been notified is working on the theft of your sign. Hey, I hope they find it. And find who. That'll be great. Let's see. We got Bill in the house. We got LD, of course. Yeah, Drazen it's becoming painfully obvious that she's a bigger rhino than anybody ever suspected. This is problematic. And the thing is that as a candidate, as was mentioned by one person criticizing that I need to get behind Drazen, I need to support Drazen. I can't support those things that she supports. I cannot support the Oregon China Council. And if you notice down here, something I try to keep posted up quite a bit, the Oregon China Council endorses full implementation of the 2030 Agenda. That's the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its 17 global goals. Christine Drazen supports that. So does Betsy Johnson and Tina Kotek. How can I support that? Better yet, how can Kevin G support that? Voters need to pull their heads out, and they better figure it out quick, because once Drazen gets in, there's going to be a whole lot of other people pulling her strings, and it won't be you and me. Okay? This idea that I got to be able to work with her. Listen, I can work with anybody that's representing the people. That's pretty simple. But are they? Are they representing the people? So far, no. All right, Mr. Dale's in the house. All right, good to see you. Who else do we got? Hey, Jace's mom. Yeah, that whole stewardship, another Agenda 21 word. You got it. Let's see. Yes, and matter of fact, there's actually 4 videos. One covers the big pharma, the uniparty financing for all 3 of those candidates, by the way, including Kate Brown too. Be the 4th person, but it's all out there. Rogue Splice did these actually months ago, and he's just getting them put back out there. He didn't know about the whole Oregon China Council deal, but now he's very attuned to that, and we cover that extensively in my last interview with him. Let's see. What else did she say? It was Christine Drazen said she was going to make sure the crime is eliminated and that the police will have the funds to do their job. But, as noted here by LD, Christy Drazen voted against the police in House Bill 3355, and she's just lying to the people. And she did this just for the vote. Guys, wake up your neighbors, wake up your friends. Take these videos that we got out there and share them everywhere you can. Get people, send them in an email, copy the links, stick them in an email, send them to all your friends and family. Say, listen, you've got to listen to this. You got to look at this. You're not going to believe this, but it's the facts. It's the truth. And you can check it out yourself. Yeah. The Republican Party office here in Roseburg had an interesting visitor. Yep, that's right. Let's see what else we got over here. Hey, James Kibble, his internet's working. So good. All right. Well, hopefully it'll stay that way. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and by the way, yeah, so we'll get into the whole Biden thing, but this is getting crazy. So here we go. The Willamette Week contradicted national reporting some 18 hours ago, stating that Joe Biden's approval ratings remain dismal. Okay? But if Americans are unenthusiastic about the president, Oregonians are positively glum about the standard bearer of the Oregon Democrats, Governor Kate Brown, which basically say what? Willamette Week is taking shots at Biden Wait a minute. Haven't we been told that Biden's approval ratings are going up and up and up, right? That's what we've been being told, mainstream media. And yet, here's the Willamette Week reporting the contrary, that his approval ratings remain dismal. And of course, yes, he's coming to Oregon. Now, if Biden can come to Oregon, I like to think that President Trump can come to Oregon. So for those President Trump representatives out there, I challenge President Trump, come to Oregon just one time. Matter of fact, give me a call. I'll get it all set up. But you know what? What are you going to do? The attitude is that somehow Oregon is just so far off the beaten path, there's no point in even going there. The fact is this, Mr. Trump, President Trump, there's a good reason to come here to Oregon because quite literally you could save Oregon. I'm not joking. That is not an exaggeration. Now, what else? So, by the way, just let you know, a $10,000 donation to Tina Kotek will get you a photo with Joe Biden. I'm telling you, wow. That would be tempting just to go rip the wig off his head, right? So Tina Kotek is bringing Joe Biden to Oregon on October 15th, while Christine Drazan is bringing Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin on October 18th in Aurora, Oregon, at the Barn at Countryside. Now, hey, Governor Youngkin, here's my advice to you. You might want to look into where Christine Drazan really stands before you sully your good name and standing supporting a super rhino, okay? Just a heads up, guy. So now something in the comments on that tweet that garnered my attention was a statement made by a non-Drazan supporter, I'm guessing a Democrat. We'll call this person Gene D, to the Willamette Week. And what they said was, quote, getting the feeling that Willamette Week is in the tank for Drazan. You tweeted the same story 3 hours ago under a different headline. Not worthy of a Pulitzer winner? Come on, Zussman. Now, Zussman is usually pretty critical, especially of Republicans and conservatives and what have you. That's just kind of his byline. But apparently it is becoming more beneficial to them in some capacity to support her, which also supports the whole idea and evidence issue where she's fundamentally a super rhino by where she stands and who she's accountable to, which is not you and me. So if the Willamette Week supports a candidate, then it's no good for Oregon. Keep that in mind. So we've had all kinds of Republicans sell out to Betsy Johnson. Remarkable. Yeah. So we're going to get into Drazan here a little bit. I'm going to copy and put this over here in. So if y'all want to get back to it, I was asked to put in links to things to make it a little easier for people to find it later on. But Biden coming to Oregon, fine. President Trump, it's time for you to come to Oregon too. If he can come here, then you can come here. It's that simple. Don't make me call you a chicken, okay? I know you can come here. I know you can be here. And at this point, there's one Oregon first, America first candidate, and that's me. So please make the trip. Okay, so getting into this, this is an exclusive Republican Oregon gubernatorial hopeful, Christine Drazan. And as you've heard her talk about, she has a plan to take her state, into a new direction. And that direction is going to be away from the extreme policies she says has led to high crime rates, failing schools, and a major homelessness crisis. Boy, you got to admit, she's got great ability to state the obvious. The problem is, in the course of you being in the legislature, what did you do about it? How loud did you scream? For example, we talked about the Oregon China Council. Anybody, if so far to our knowledge, we don't have anybody speaking out against the Oregon China Council. They're not speaking out against the United Nations Agenda 2030. They're not speaking out against sustainable development. Any candidate that is not screaming out at the top of their lungs against these things, do not vote for them. It's really that simple. Find the candidates that understand those things and know they're wrong and are going to fight against them. Those are the candidates we need to put in office. So in this exclusive interview with Fox News, she outlined, God, I love this. She outlined her roadmap for Oregon's future. A plan she said would appeal to Oregonians across all political spectrums and would lead the state, a progressive haven long run by Democrats, to new heights with real tangible change. Tangible change. Okay, first of all, it's not a plan. It's an outline. In other words, here's all the issues. Every one of you, everybody in Oregon, could pretty much write an outline in this regard. Just an outline of the issues. This is what a politician does. They sidestep. They don't really offer a tangible plan to accomplish to take care of the problems and the issues. So, like I said, tangible would suggest an actual plan, not just outlined issues of the day. She doesn't have a plan. And that's also the first trait of a leader, is to have a plan. Matter of fact, have multiple plans, have backup plans, have backup to the backup plans. You got to be thinking ahead of yourself. You got to be playing chess with these things, thinking your moves way ahead of time. Now, something that she said, and this just made me want to throw up, because this race this year is really about leadership. It's a pretty simple conversation that we're having with Oregonians. Are you better off today than you were 10 years ago before Democrats took control of everything? Well, what's really funny about this is that, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not wrong here, I've been talking about actually asking people, are you better off than you were 20 years ago? Okay, and I've been asked that for over 2 years now. Are you better off with the people running the show than you were 20 years ago? Make it 10 years ago. The answer is no and no. It's an obvious deal and something we've been talking about for a long time. So I guess maybe her people are starting to pick up and use some of my material. As far as this race being about leadership, well, I can honestly say it's about proven lack of leadership. We have 3 people from the legislature all running for governor. Where's their real leadership? Tina Kotek has driven the state right into the ground as Speaker of the House. But she's not alone in her efforts. Betsy Johnson has supported many of those things. Okay? Christine Drazan has supported many of those things. And on top of that, did Christine Drazan step up and really speak out to the public about the issues going on in our legislature? To hold them to account publicly? No. See, it's not just about what you say. It's also about what you don't say. Human and child trafficking. Which ones are speaking out against it? I am. Are any of them? Not a peep. Why is that? They won't talk about the Oregon China Council. They won't talk about the UN Agenda 2030. They won't really get into too many of the sustainable development stuff. They don't want to even touch on the subject in this campaign. They won't talk about the human and child trafficking in the state. They will talk about it. Oh, we need to fix education. Well, you guys screwed it up. You're actually dumbing down our population even more. You're doing a huge disservice to our young people. And you've been doing it for a while now. But you don't talk about it. Not until it's an election time. So you really want to know where these people really stand? Look at what they've talked about over a period of time. What have they worked on for a period of time? Not just in the moment. It matters. And for me, the best that I can do, I can provide my support wherever I can. Get the word out. For whether it's the human child trafficking, all this stuff, just educating people what's going on, who's involved, who knows about it, who's doing nothing about it, and what I'm going to do when I get in there. That's all I can really tell you. So, her being a former minority leader in the Oregon House of Representatives, largely because nobody else wanted the job, she said when asked why she felt her campaign would win in a state that hasn't elected a Republican governor in decades, she said, and I quote, "Things are more expensive here. Taxes are higher. Our schools are among the worst in the nation. We have among the highest numbers of homelessness and addiction with the lowest level of access to recovery services. And our crime numbers have gone through the roof." Well, duh. I got news for you guys. Every Oregonian could run for governor based on her comment right there. We all know this. She's a credible ability to restating the obvious. And to me, that is not an answer. Okay? Why do I feel like our campaign would be a win in this state. Very simply, the contract with Oregon addresses all the issues. I think most of the issues anyway. And in a way that basically is supported by Democrats, Republicans, independents, non-affiliated voters, constitutionalists, everybody, because it stays within the boundaries of the Constitution and it puts the vote into the hands of the people. That's what has to be done. And until the voters realize that their vote matters, they need to feel that. They need to experience that. And right now, because of our elections and the fraud built into them, not to mention the new system they're trying to put in place for the 2024 election, I think it is. Yeah. Okay. Guys, you're going to rate who you're going to pick with stars, up to 5 stars. So everybody on your ballot, you can rank them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's violating your voting rights. Anybody who says otherwise doesn't understand it. I've heard about this. I've been hearing about it. I was like, wait a minute. Okay. This is just another way of them trying to figure out how they can cheat to make it less obvious and less noticeable. So don't fall for it. One man, one woman, one vote each, right? That's how it's supposed to be. We need to leave it there. Now, one thing she did argue that Oregonians had felt the negative changes taking place across the state and could see the direct connection between them and the fact, Governor Kate Brown. Now, Governor Kate Brown has basically been in hiding nonstop. We don't even know where she's staying because she's not necessarily staying in the governor's mansion. Okay. Now, she served as governor since 2015 and is term limited, so she can't run in this election. Now, something else went on. Drazen actually described one of her opponents, Speaker of the House, Tina Kotek, as a continuation of the left-wing policies that led Oregon down its current path, and said that Oregonians didn't believe single-party control had served them very well. But here's the thing. How did that single-party control happen? How did it happen? Well, I'll tell you how it happened. A whole bunch of Republican leaders let it happen, supported it to happen, worked towards it happening. Starts with Solomon Yu and his little minions and their control over the Republican Party. Now, it appeared that the Republican Party is trying to correct this. And I wish them the best luck. I really do. I'd love to see them successful. But I don't want to see them still supporting rhino candidates. Well, we got to move to the left to get enough votes. No, you don't. You just have to earn the votes. You have to explain yourself. You have to have a real plan. And you have to stay within the boundaries of the Constitution. And you got to make it work. And what you'll find is all the Republicans that left the party, that joined the non-affiliated ranks or the independent ranks or whatever, maybe you'll actually win them back. But see, I'm betting you're not going to do all that. I really don't think, I don't see it in you. I see great people in the Republican Party that are working to that. But I see too many politicians, too many influencers that are literally going out of their way to prevent that from happening. That's a real problem. So, quote, she said something about they want balance. And they want somebody, frankly, that's going to fix the problems that are hurting them. Of course we do. Drazen said also, and it's not about this global agenda. Are you kidding me? Global agenda right now is a huge part of Oregon in the Oregon-China Council. And here she is saying it's not about this global agenda. Oh, we don't have a problem about the global agenda? Oh, that is 100% bovine excrement. It's everything about it. Then she goes on to say they don't want somebody to be focused entirely on federal issues and global issues and just talk climate with them all the time. Oh, but it's okay that those things exist. First issue is this: global. Why are we involved in anything in Oregon with a global one world government? Any of our representatives that support this are guilty of treason. That undermines our freedom, our liberty, and our sovereignty. They swore to uphold our Constitution, not violate it. And by them supporting that, they are violating it. Make no mistake. Federal issues. Well, guess what? We have representatives and senators that go to the Congress, and that's where they deal with federal issues. The governor, well, there's ways to influence certain things, but You got to put it in the hands of the people that are actually there in charge. And as governor, if you're going to go somewhere to actually make something happen, you better bring a bunch of other governors with you. And then talk climate all the time. First of all, she's acknowledging that the climate change stuff is still real, that it's something of substance. And the fact is, climate change, that whole mess is garbage. It is bunk. It doesn't exist in the capacity they claim it does, nor is it something that we can spend money on to fix or change. This is a lie. This is a shell game for them. And for her to even acknowledge it tells me right there, you can't trust her with it. She's still trying to accommodate the woke element out there. And every time Christine Drazan has accommodated anybody, she's lost. The Democrats in the legislature have said, oh, hey, Christine, yeah, you go along with us on this, and we're going to hook you up with that. Yeah, trust us. And then she does, and her naive self gets left out in the cold. Yeah. Do you think you really want a naive person like that as governor who can't see through the bovine excrement curtain? Yeah, I don't think so. She also went on to say they want somebody that's going to say, we need better schools and politics. We need better schools and politics out of the classroom. We need lower taxes. We need to be able to afford to fill up our car and the gas pump. Those are the basic kitchen table issues that Oregonians want their next leader to focus on. And I'm the only candidate in this race that's focusing on those issues in a way that is a new direction for our state. Okay. Let's break this down. Let's see. We need better schools. No, see, we have schools. We have good schools, but we need better teachers and better curriculum. Okay? And as far as the politics out of the classroom, well, actually, no. We need civics in the classroom. High school supposed to have 4 years of civics per Oregon law. It has 0 currently. They are basically trying to make sure our students, our young people, don't even know the Constitution, don't even know their rights, and don't even know to fight for them, right? That's what they've done. They've totally undermined our students, our young people. Lower taxes? Of course we need lower taxes. Yeah, but I don't hear you talking about lowering taxes. Didn't Christine Drazan state publicly that she, and this is what Betsy Johnson and Tina Kotek said too, they would not change the current tax structure in Oregon. That means not income tax, not any of the sales tax, not any of the property tax, nothing. Then there's the problem with what they're not talking about. They're not talking about the taxes up to 15% of your income tax would be increased, or up to 50% increase in your income tax to cover a statewide healthcare system. She didn't tell you about that, did she? She's ignored it. She hasn't even broached the subject to even say she was in favor of it or against it. Okay? Which means that she's not talking about it. Number one, I know she knows about it. Number two, she's not talking about it. Number three, that means she's not going to change anything. It matters what they talk about. It matters what they don't talk about. So then we have the other taxes, the other fees that are coming down the pike. Businesses. Oh my gosh. Let me show you something. It's going to blow your mind. Let's see if this is it. No, that's not the one. Where did that thing go? Shoot. Yeah, I may not have got that one yet. Okay. Anyway, it's a chart. It shows how how the business tax revenue collections have increased, and that increase has skyrocketed from 2015 when it was down to like $0.4 billion. That's $400 million in business tax revenue. So now in 7 years of Kate Brown, Tina Kotek, Betsy Johnson, and for a little bit more than half of that, Christine Drazan, it is now upwards of $1.6 billion. So we went from, $0.4 billion to $1.6 billion in just 7 short years. And then we have record money that they're looking to hand back to us in a kicker. However, they don't want to do it. And by the way, we're talking about over $1 billion. Over $1 billion sitting in the kicker fund. So they just keep collecting it from us, but they don't want to give it back. Tina Kotek, Kate Brown, Betsy Johnson, and Christine Drazen, all guilty. Why wasn't Christine Drazen talking about this when she got into office? Wasn't she publicly attacking this? Every legislator, if you're not back in your districts, screaming at the top of your lungs and sharing with other districts about the problems, the inequities, the real problems that we're faced with, and what you're going to do to fix them, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I don't know about you guys, but have you heard any Republicans being squeaky about anything? I just don't get it. If they're not going to speak for us, why should we elect them to speak for us when they're just not going to? We know they're not going to represent us because they haven't so far. They talk a big game when they're campaigning, trying to get back into office. But where's the substance? Where is their success? You know, Drazen could not have won a single thing in all the time she's been in the legislature. But if she would have spoke out against the right things, she'd be a guaranteed shoo-in. But she doesn't. Why? Because she's trying to compromise herself to being good with all the Republicans and then maybe make nice with some of the Democrats in the hope that maybe they might break with their loyalty traditions and actually vote for her. Because I'll tell you what, the NAVs are not going to vote for you, Drazen. They're not going to do it. They're also not going to vote for Betsy Johnson or Tina Kotek. I'll tell you somebody who they will vote for, though. Me. And don't underestimate the non-affiliated voter. And by the way, if you are in Congressional District 1, 3, or 6, I need people to make phone calls. So I can get you the NAV voter rolls. You can go through them, find the ones that have phone numbers, make the calls, and basically let them know they have a write-in candidate available to them. And this is their one shot at really making a difference here in Oregon, because it is the truth. Okay, let's see. Hey, Carol. Drazen also states she believes in election integrity. Well, I believe in integrity, just not in our elections. She thinks that Biden won. Obviously, that woman's not paid attention to anything that she should be. We've had the professor, we've had all these different people come out and explain in great gory detail who, how, where, counties, how many, exactly how our elections are corrupt. In great gory detail. Math doesn't lie. They figured it out. They got them dead to rights. And yet, Christine Drazen does not think that we have fraudulent elections in Oregon. Remember that word naive? We were talking about that. So here's the thing, guys. With Drazen, you can end up with a naive, spineless jellyfish marshmallow that is beholden to everybody but us in office. Do you really want that? No, you don't. I certainly don't. So I'll be writing myself in. See, Amanda has something here. My daughter's school is in trouble getting the school roof replaced with putting increased property tax fixed. I think we in Josephine County need to pull the kids out of school until things get done. Wow. One of the things I'm running into is that the bids for these things have kind of gotten out of control. What's fair is fair, but oftentimes we see everybody overbidding everything. Everybody will double the bid just to make it more than worth their while. And there's got to be a better way for us to do repairs on public buildings and what have you. Even the Navy, we have our CBs. We need something built, building, bridge, obstacle course, dock, doesn't matter. They take care of it. The best part is we get it for pretty much cost. Pretty nice deal. We got to find some better routes for that. Gosh. And with all the money they've been bringing in for property tax and everything else, see, if we actually still were doing the timber industry and that was supporting schools in the county, you wouldn't have this problem. And that's a fact. Let's see. So anyway, Jennifer Whitstein, she also has the lists for, I believe that's, oh gosh, which congressional district is that, Jennifer? Let's see, 2 is with Loma and all of them over there, and Miss Terry, Jace's mom, and um, yeah, these the people that are excited for Dre's, and by the way, there's a nice thrift store in I guess Coos Bay that removed Drazen's sign from their window and put mine in there and put a station up with my information and my contracts with Oregon and everything, and they get a lot of traffic, and I really thank them for that. And if I knew exactly their name, I would help promote them. So please get that to me, LD. Hey, LaDonna, what are you? Well, let's see. What was that line from The Fifth Element? I am a meat popsicle. Let's see. Just found out that my school district is teaching 10, 11 years porn literary. Oh, give me. And by the way, parents for that district, contact the police. That is violating a minor, basically, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. And as parents, yes, you can file those complaints. And yes, law enforcement has to enforce those. So go get them. Get an audit. Why not? Yeah, believe me, the whole state of Oregon needs a full audit, and we got to clean up that general fund. And the other thing is, this is for materials. I don't know what materials are being used for that roof, but I think here in Oregon, like I said, we have timber out the wazoo. Timber should be quite affordable here in this state, and yet it's not. Why is that? Well, let's see. So if any of you are Timber Unity or ONRI fans out there, which technically actually I am myself, however, the leadership, the admins of those two groups do not want to interview me or let their people ask me questions. What does that tell you? We already knew that Timber Unity was corrupt and the takeover by, gosh, I forget her name now, but and that woman has a 10-year plan on being Secretary of State back then anyway. So I guess she's a few years away from that. But Timber Unity, ONRI, there are solutions to your problems to put all your people to work. And unfortunately, you only got part of them working with Weyerhaeuser and everybody else. And Weyerhaeuser, well, you guys went on strike because you figured out Weyerhaeuser should have been paying you guys more. I know. This has been going on for a while. You guys finally figured it out. Congratulations. Now, what are you going to do about it? Maybe you'll take the time to talk to me and find out what I'm going to do about it as the next governor. Do I have a solution? Oh, yes, I do. I can give it to you in great detail. And once you learn about it and figure it all out, you're going to be like, oh, wow. Son of a gun. This guy actually does know what he's talking about. Imagine that. I know. Crazy stuff. Let's see. Hey, LaDonna, which congressional district are you in? Okay, and Jennifer's in 5. So Jennifer's working 5 right now. And we have LD and some other people, and Shanna and Tom and them are working on CD4. And then I have a bunch of people over in CD2 contacting NAV voters. So, okay, LaDonna, what? I can't remember. This says, what are you? I am a meat popsicle. I wonder if that was code just to so they would just bypass them. I don't know. Let's see. So LaDonna Morrison, what city are you in? Oh, you're in Marion County. So, gosh, Marion County may be part of a couple districts over there, I think. Maybe someone can look that up for me real quick. I'm guessing you're going to be in 1 or 3. Probably 3. Hey, Becky. Thank you, Becky. I appreciate that. I do. Yeah. Hey, listen, guys, I've had a lot of offers from a number of states to come there and run for governor. which is really kind of cool. But I appreciate it. I do. But right now, I'm here to fight for Oregon. It's where I grew up. It's where I plan on retiring, and I'm just going to keep fighting the good fight. So Salem. So actually, you are LaDonna. You're in Congressional District 4. Yeah. Wow. 40-foot bridge that leads from street to our house. 4 beams over $4,000 to replace. What is more expensive than gold? Yeah, it shouldn't be that way. Definitely not. Okay, LaDonna. See, I'm not sure if I have your number offhand, but I think I may have your email address, correct? And I'll make sure I get something sent to you here. Card. Come on. Let's see. So what I'll do, and just let you know, when you receive the CD4 voter list, it's broken down NAV and then the other smaller parties. And when you go into the file for NAV, for example, as you go down, you'll see the counties will be in alphabetical order. So whatever county you want to work on, just kind of keep track of what you're working on and let us know. And there's some will have phone numbers and some will have addresses. So you also have the ability to go say hello to a few people if you'd like to do that. Or if you want to stick them a postcard or something small in the mail with a flyer, you can do that too. We have a number of people that are doing that. I know Shanna and Tom are doing that down there in Coos County, which is just phenomenal, by the way. We can do this, guys. We have the time to do it. We can do it. I really hope for that Trump endorsement between now and the 19th. I know it's not very far away. We're a week away, but it's always possible. We've actually reached out to Fox News, Laura Ingraham, and who else? The Benny Johnson Show, Jeremy Harold, Live from America, Kate Miller. So we'll reach out to a number of places, and that's what we need to do. We just need to keep talking to them and ask them to interview me, get me on the radio show, so that way I can tell them what's going on, what we're addressing, what we're exposing in our candidates, because people need to know these things, because this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad for all of us. And when we have to spend the next 2 years recalling a whole bunch of people, it's going to be a pain in the backside. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing better to unite Oregon than a good old-fashioned recall, right? So we'll see what happens. Let's see. Yeah, thank you. Let's see. Hey, JMD, got you in the house. Why the Republican Party plays almost no part in the selection or control of legislators. Why do Republican legislators seem so eager to do bidding of leftists who control the state? Yeah, it's amazing. They compromise themselves so quickly. And to be quite honest, there's a word I would use to describe those people, but we won't do that here. Just say it rhymes with wussy, but it pretty much means the same thing in this case. Yeah, so that'll work. So yeah. They get corrupted right away. Not to mention a lot of the training they experience at Umpqua College to be a legislator, whether it's the House or Senate. There's information that they're being told and taught that's not true. Same thing with county commissioners. They get training that they fall under the control of the Secretary of State. County clerks, same thing. The simple fact is this, guys. Whoever elects you and puts you in office, that is who you're accountable to. That is who you're responsible for and to. And the health, safety, and well-being of people of Douglas County fall under the auspices of our county commissioners. And our elections falls to our county clerk. The county clerk does not have to abide by the Secretary of State. County clerk can do whatever they want. They can hand count ballots. They can negate their machines. They can do that. They can make that decision for themselves, especially when they know that the Secretary of State and the Attorney General both have stated that the equipment we're currently using is compromised. It has been connecting to the internet. It is capable of connecting to the internet. And every time you tell somebody, no, it never does, it never is, never can be, is a lie. So county clerks all over Oregon have been lying to all of us. Some of them, they didn't know this. Actually, I think most of them didn't know this. but it doesn't change the fact that it's the truth. So we have to stay on them for that. Let's see. That's right. Trump is not endorsing Drazen. He knows she's a super rhino. He knows about her connections with China. And by the way, Christine, just let your connections with China and supporting the whole Oregon China Council and the Agenda 2030, you do understand the repercussions of those actions, right? I don't think you do. I think you're just that naive. That's what I think. Because if you actually knew this stuff, man, you would not touch it with a 10-foot pole. You would not be supporting it in any way, shape, or form. So, better correct yourself. Thank you, Becky. I appreciate the words of encouragement. Let's see. So, Oregon China Council site. Oregon has many major corporate endorsers of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, such as Nike, Columbia Sportswear, Tillamook Dairy, et cetera, et cetera. And see, a lot of those guys have no freaking clue what they're supporting. They're literally cutting their own throats, and they don't understand it. They've never read the Agenda 2030. But I'll tell you what, let's go address this a little bit, shall we? Okay, so here we go. All right. So what do we have here? We have the Oregon China Council website, and this is actually the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Now, here's the first thing their goal for Oregon: no poverty. Well, that sounds wonderful, but it doesn't tell you about how they're going to take your things to level the playing field, do they? You understand? Right? Okay. So then the next one, you have zero hunger. Okay. Listen, I'm sure there's people that are maybe hungry here in Oregon, probably mostly a few homeless. However, haven't heard of a whole lot of people dying of hunger here in Oregon. And when you look around and you see a lot of people, there's a lot of people that can stand to actually lose a few pounds, myself included. So in a way, well, I don't really see hunger being a major issue. You go to Somalia, for example, you go to some South Africa country, you find real hunger, okay? The next one, good health and well-being. See, what they're trying to say is this is all about the socialized medicine and healthcare. Now, there's a lot of people who had the benefit of working for a company long-term. You had insurance, you had medical, you had dental, you had vision, you had everything, and you were happy with it. You paid a little bit in, your company paid a bunch in. That was like part of your pay, your salary, but you didn't have to count that on your tax return. So it worked out really good for you and your employer. All right. It was a win-win. And you actually had good health care. And then Obamacare came along and killed all this. But it's better. We spent way more money, got way less care, but somehow it's better. And for less people. And somehow it's still better. People, wake up. And do not let OHA and the state and these legislators that are pushing this whole new statewide health care deal, that includes Drazen, she should be speaking out against it right now. She is not. So that tells you where she stands because she knows about it. Quality education. This state, its legislature, its governor, the people running for the office, if they were ever at all concerned about really the quality of our education, they would have done something about it in the course of their term in the legislature. They would have spoke out about it regularly. They would have screamed it for the mountaintops. Have they? No. So do you actually trust them to say, well, we need to fix our education? Oh, yeah. Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. All this indoctrination stuff, Common Core, the whole 9 yards, it's going away. We're going back to 4 years of civics in high school. I'm going to have to recruit teachers that are retired here in Oregon to come back to work for a couple of years to help us get everything, excuse me, back online and on track for our students. And then on top of that, we have to address kind of a school to work program so that our graduating seniors for the last couple of years that have been screwed can get the education they need to be successful in the state. They're not about quality education. They're about the quality of dumbing down the population to bring everybody down to the lowest common denominator. Don't allow that. Not everybody is an Einstein, but not everybody is an idiot. There's everybody in between too. Gender equality. Really? You know, I myself, when I came to Oregon, I ran into an issue with my last name, Romero, because people would see that and they'd automatically assume I was Hispanic, Mexican, whatever, right? Even though I didn't sound that way. And invariably, a lot of times I get to see my resume go into the round file. Fully qualified, educated for the job, but I didn't quite work into whatever it is they were doing. Sometimes it may have been discrimination. Sometimes it may have been the whole, oh, come on, giving minorities a better chance than, say, just a straight white guy. The fact is this, guys, in this state, they want gender equality. Okay, so that means every job, half have to be men, half have to be women. So women, those welding type jobs and all those heavy, hard labor jobs that are out there, yeah, guess what? Half of them are going to have to be women. How well do you think that's going to go over? It's not going to work. It's just the nature of men and women. We are different. Are there women that can handle welding jobs? Oh, yeah, and I've met them and I've known them, right? And they're just as capable as the men. But then again, the other issue is this. In any job, no matter what it is you do, you have the top performers, you have the lower performers. And sex doesn't generally have anything to do with it. It has to do with motivation, inspiration, education, and then your application of all the above. That's what it comes down to, not their sex. Clean water and sanitation. Because, here in Oregon, we have nothing but filthy water and terrible sanitation and what have. Really? So how is the Oregon China Council going to fix this for us in the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals? Are they going to remove all the fluoride? Or are they going to put more in? See, they use terminology that sounds good, but the underlying actions are totally not working to our advantage. Number 7, affordable and clean energy. Well, obviously, they're doing the exact opposite of that. They're killing our oil industry. They're jacking up gas prices unnecessarily. America should be energy independent. Because of the current resident in charge, we are no longer energy independent. That was by design. It's the compromising of our country so that China can come in and just basically try to take us over. And my thing about that is this: it ain't going to happen. Not on my watch. I know a whole lot of people that are going to not let that happen. And we outnumber them. So we got to stick to that. As far as clean energy goes, guys, listen, more windmills is not clean energy. More solar panels is not clean energy. None of those things pay for themselves over time. None of them. That's been a real big problem. They talk about it like it's so wonderful and great, but the fact is it's not. Decent work and economic growth. Wow, let's see. Here in Oregon, they literally create a environment that chases businesses away out of the state, which means jobs for all of us. So that's not, economic growth or decent work or work available to our graduates here in Oregon from high school or college. So here's the question. What has Drazen, Kotek, and Johnson, what have they done to fix these things since they've been in the legislature? No, they've created more issues and problems for these things, but they've not fixed anything. Okay? Industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Guess what, guys? We pay more money for road maintenance that doesn't get done, and then when it gets done, it takes them forever and a day. I've watched them build a brand new gigantic bridge across a Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. And apparently, Louisiana engineers for roads and what have you are kick-ass and badass. They are amazing. I watched that stuff get built from start to finish after Hurricane Katrina. Absolutely remarkable what was done. And here in Oregon, over in Klamath Falls, they're trying to build an overpass over a railroad track to reduce the possibility for accidents and what have you. Great idea, by the way. You know what the engineers said? The ground was too soft. They couldn't do it. You know what that said? Those engineers were too stupid, and they didn't know how to do it. They didn't bother to talk to somebody that would know how to do it. If we can build a gigantic, huge bridge with 8 lanes, 10 lanes in some cases, 10 lanes across in Lake Pontchartrain with a super muddy bottom or in a swamp, why can't we do that on dry ground even with volcanic stuff? It's all about surface area of your pilings driven into the ground. And you got to do the math. Once you do the math, you figure out what you got to do, boom, it's done. So that project could actually go forward. But the problem is the people that took it over, were doing it, weren't that bright. And they failed. They got paid for all the work they did that didn't do anything for anybody. It's literally an overpass to nowhere. These are the kind of problems we have in this state. So then we have reduced inequalities. What does that mean? Inequalities? See, again, they're trying to create division between any group that they can. This is classic cultural Marxism. Reduce inequalities. They're not reducing squat. They're just trying to create that division. Okay? Make us all different so that we can all be fighting each other. That's what it's about. Sustainable cities and communities. Oh, that sounds so wonderful. Sustainable means it would be sustained throughout forever. That word sustainable, every time I hear it, bile comes up the back of my mouth. There is no sustainable development like they claim it is. It doesn't exist. Sustainability, our fish hatcheries. We have our fish hatcheries to make sure we have the fish we need, and they can grow up, be big fish, and we can catch them and we can eat them. And that cycle, we manage that cycle, that it becomes sustainable. And then they said, well, we don't want you eating fish, so we're gonna stop hatching fish here in Oregon. We're gonna ship all that to China. What moron came up with that idea? Oh, wait a minute. What traitor came up with that idea? Look at how many hatcheries right here in Oregon right now are non-operational. Guys, they're trying to get us all to leave. They're trying to get us all to quit Oregon. And what I'm saying is, please don't give up. But at the same time, we can't afford these three people as governor. I get into governor, I'm telling you right now, you're going to watch the Chinese in this state that are non-citizens leave little fire footprints to the airport. Oh, yeah, they'll be headed out. Let's see, responsible consumption and production. See, what that means, responsible consumption. Oh, you know what? You're a little too chunky there. You need to stop eating all those chips. Yeah, okay, he can't buy any more Doritos or Twinkies or anything like that. You see? Responsible consumption. They're going to limit you on batteries and paper and other products because that's how socialism works. Until then, all of a sudden, you're all fighting for a single roll of toilet paper. Yeah, wait till that happens. And then you're going to remember what I said. You go, doggone it. Responsible production. Well, exactly what does it mean? You know, oh, we only want you guys to make so much. So don't make too much. Just make this much. And then you guys can only use this much. And that's it. This is America. If we want to sit down and eat a half gallon of ice cream by ourselves, we have that prerogative. And nobody can tell us no. If you want to have some milk and cookies, guess what? Knock yourself out. But the fact is, with this whole Oregon-China Council deal, the Agenda 2030, all of this, guys, fundamentally violates our freedoms, our liberties, and our sovereignty. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. It is that simple. Don't fall into their BS. And a lot of these people, believe it or not, they've never even read Agenda 2030. They've never even read it. They don't have a clue about it. But they support it. So we're back to the ignorance of many of our representatives. So then, of course, you have number 13, the good old climate action. You know, throughout history, every 10 years, they said, oh, we're all going to die because of the ozone layer. Or we're all going to die if we don't do this. We're all going to die because of this. And so far, throughout history of all this going on, it's never happened. Not one single time have we been close to all of us dying. Okay? We're closer to dying because of how we've been poisoned in this country. We're closer to dying because of the geoengineering going on. The vaccines are trying to force on us. The medications they push on us that are not actually helping us. This is how they're literally killing us off a little at a time. Because again, just very well, put a bunch of fentanyl where we all consume it all at once and we all just drop dead. Oh, wait a minute. I think there's somebody that's actually trying to do that. Why? Because of how much fentanyl China keeps shipping into this country. That's the reality. This is actually going on. What are we going to do about it? See, I don't think we have to worry about our water here in Oregon too much by the Chinese or anybody poisoning it with fentanyl, because I think they got full plans to live here themselves. It's also why Bill Gates hasn't bought any farmland here in Oregon, but China has. They buy up our farms, our ranches, our water rights, rental properties. They're going to buy Oregon right out from underneath us if you let Drazen, Johnson, or Kotek into the governor's office. Now, Drazen, I like to think she's a nice person, that she wouldn't actually want to do that type of stuff. But the fact is, she is a cream puff marshmallow. She doesn't have a stiff bone in her spine to save her life. That is her person. She's not built to handle what's coming. I most certainly am. Let's see. Life below water. Fish. Yeah, nothing like letting the sea lion population destroy our salmon runs. And by the way, that also hurts Idaho's salmon stuff too. Keep that in mind. So it doesn't just affect us. It actually affects other states, Washington and Idaho. Yet, here's where we're at. And they're talking about taking dams out, removing dams. That's going to kill the entire ecosystem in the water, river, all the way out to the ocean. The stuff that the dam removal is going to release. They don't talk about that. These are supposed to be environmentalists? No, they're not. The other thing they're doing is they're taking away enough power, enough hydroelectric power, which is clean energy, by the way. That's legitimate clean energy. They're taking enough power that would power Springfield and Eugene for a whole year. Gone. And they're going to replace it with what? They're going to replace it with wind power off the coast? They're going to replace it with solar panels. They clear cut a whole bunch of hundreds of thousands of acres to put those up, as well as buildings to store batteries. Look at the lithium that's here in our state. Have you ever seen a lithium mine? I want to know where all the environmentalists are screaming about saying no to that. They're not there because they're not environmentalists. They're opportunists. It's all about free money for them. If they're not making money on it, they don't even bother with it. So another reality right here in Oregon. So then we have life on land. Life on land. Wow, because, life on land is just so rough and difficult and hard here in Oregon. No, it's not. It is when you release a bunch of timber wolves that have been gone for a long time into an ecosystem that basically just hunts down and kills entire herds of elk for fun. Yeah, does that create a bit of a problem for, say, those of us that might want to put some elk in the freezer? Yeah, it does. So again, we're back to people creating bigger problems for us all and undermining a good life that we already had, claiming that they're trying to improve on it. It's like the idiot that thinks he can make a better wheel. No, they can't. Make a better mousetrap. I've seen a lot of different mousetraps. Some are a little better than others, but the fact is, most of these morons couldn't. They can't even parallel park a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and put them in a vehicle that requires a clutch. Best theft deterrent problem there is. Solution there is. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Wow, guys, do you really want socialism? I don't think so. We don't want that. We want justice, but we're not getting it. Not even now. This is the United States of America, and we've had a heck of a time getting justice. It is so convoluted, the process to defend yourself, protect yourself, deal with a problem with the state or the government. They basically know you're just going to give up, and that's what they count on until they have to go into court with somebody that doesn't give up, has the funding to go after them, and then wins. And then they just kind of go, well, the taxpayers had to foot the bill, so I'm okay. No, I think it needs to hurt the people that are responsible. That's what I think it needs to do. And then we have 17, partnerships for the goals. Partnerships like with the Chinese Communist Party. See, I'm staying to the position that anybody who supports Agenda 2030 is guilty of treason. Plain, pure, and simple. It is not for the betterment of the United States of America. It is for the improvement of everybody else. See, we're at the top of that food chain largely. And by embracing that, we will soon be not at the top of that food chain. But us Americans and who we are and what we do, no, we'll fight for it. We won't just let it go. They think we're going to do that, but they're trying to keep us in the dark. They're trying to keep us at a point where we don't really fully believe what is coming, what's happening. And that is really important for us to understand. See, what else we got over here? Commissioners taught that they're agents of the state at Oregon State University through their extension program, College for Commissioners. Yes, they are taught that they are agents of the state, but commissioners, county commissioners, you are not agents of the state. You are agents of this county representing the people in this county. That is it. You are responsible for the health, welfare, and safety of us all. And if you have a problem with, say, a certain governor trying to mandate something like vaccines and masks and stuff, you can basically tell them, no, you guys handle the health, safety, and well-being of your county. And as such, you will let your people know that, no, those are not things that we're going to embrace or do here. Have a nice day. And then you need to make sure those are enforced so that companies, corporations, what have you, are not violating people's civil rights, violating the Nuremberg Code. Yeah, things like that. Send me a sign. I'll put it up on the busy highway I live on here in Grants Pass. Okay, Benton. Yeah, I'm going to probably have to make a trip out there is what I'm going to have to do. Let's see. The cards you showed us on Sunday, will they work for a postcard? So I'd be happy to mail some. The cards I showed on Sunday. I'm trying to remember. I have, see, I kind of have one. I can send you a flyer. Let's see, Vicky. Flyer for postcard. Yeah, I'll get you. I'll send you something like that today. That'll make it a little easier. And thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. And I'll have to send you. You have to let me know where you live, so I can kind of get you at least stuff that the voters that are in your area. And the biggest thing we want to do is contact as many non-affiliated voters as possible, and let them know they have a write-in option for governor, and introduce them to the contract with Oregon. And I'm telling you now, anybody who's read that said, man, if this guy does half of this stuff, he has my vote. And what I'm committing to is all of it. Somehow, some way we can make it happen. Yeah, they took standards away. Yeah, for education. Yeah, we got to get that stuff back. Look at where you're shopping and who is back in the stores. Yeah, it's good to know who's supporting what. But see, understand something. There's a lot of businesses that are supporting some of the woke agenda just to stay alive because of those people in power that are there ready to shut you down. So I do understand that threat, but you have to find a way to fight that threat. Central Oregon Daily says Johnson is within striking distance of the Drazen, and Kotek. They say her presence helps Drazen more than Kotek. Remember, NAV, they don't like any of three. That's right, and that's why we are going out to NAVs. But the other thing is, I know we have Democrats that are voting for us. We have Republicans that are writing us in. We have independents. We have a bunch of Constitution Party people. And all we need to do is secure that NAV, and we win. I'm telling you now. That's all we have to do. And Johnson is striking this. Let's see. All the polls have Johnson at what, 16 to 18%, I think. And I don't get that. And the thing about Johnson is because she supports the Oregon China Council, and a whole lot of things that Kate Brown has signed off on to the detriment of Oregon. And she's been there for 20 years. She's 71 years old. How does this woman relate to any of our young people at all? I don't see it. And the fact that she's connected to the Federal Reserve Bank, yeah, I got a real problem with that too. Who and what are you going to trust, right? Striking distance. Wow. I mean, I know a lot can happen, but the thing is the truth about all these people is out there. what they have said, how they've responded in these various debates they've had. And if you haven't seen my latest one, please check that out. I'm telling you, we can run circles around these people. I would love to get on stage with them in a real time atmosphere and just hammer them on this stuff. Really would love that opportunity. Fargo, North Dakota, they want to be a cat, so they put their litter boxes in the bath. Oh, by the way, I think we actually have that here in Oregon too. No. I don't think anybody, any janitor is going to want to be cleaning out a cat litter box from that. No. Let's see. Hey, Natalia. Thank you. Let's see. I heard, don't know if it's true, but they have done that in Lebanon, Oregon. Yeah, I heard that that's in Lebanon, the cat boxes. Yes. What else we got? Cook political report at the Virginia Center for Politics says gubernatorial race between Republican Drazen, Independent Johnson, and Democrat Kotek is the most watched races in the country. Wow. You know, what's really crazy is that if they'd actually interview that run right-in candidate who can pretty much nuke all three of them, boy, it would be a four-way race in a big, quick hurry, right? Yes, we just need a couple major interviews just to get it out, because once we get in there, we talk about, so listen, the three candidates for Oregon governor they're talking about, all three of them support the Oregon China Council and the UN Agenda 2030, the whole one world government thing. That's what they support. They're literally selling us out in the course of this, and all their actions, everything the way they voted on the different issues here in the state of Oregon over time proves this out. We're not making this up. We're not exaggerating it one bit. We don't have to. We just have to point out the truth. One of those bridges over the railroad tracks that didn't get finished in Lapine. What a waste. Give me a break. Yeah, Lapine. Not Lapine. I'm sorry. It is Lapine. Thank you, Terry. I mean, Jace's mom. I just did a speech today that his son Bo died in Iraq. Died of brain cancer in 2015. Yeah, the people running him, controlling him, obviously are almost as dumb as him. That's all I can think of. Touch my peanut butter and chocolate ice cream, and they'll get swayed in the face. Yeah, I got to go with my chocolate brownie thunder. Yeah, there you go. I'll make that say so. Thank you, Becky. I appreciate that. Believe me, you know, I know we can make the state better in such a way that it benefits everybody. And in the end, everybody's gonna be like, yeah, I gotta admit, I like what he did. He did a good job. Okay. And then those people that have been fighting me nonstop, the small little group of Ma Barker minions, they're gonna just feel really, really stupid. But I'm okay with that. Starts at home. Raise strong, loving, good, God-fearing people, and children. Yeah. Let me tell you something. The family unit is one of the biggest issues we have to address, without a doubt. Well, like I said, let's see. There we go. I'm going to kill this other one. Bingo, there we go. So there's the write-in example we have. We have a flyer for that, and I'm gonna make a flyer for the postcard deal that I think you'll be able to use. Vicky. Let's see. Heifers for Drazen. You're supposed to that. Well, what's funny, you know, cows for Drazen. I saw the sign, and there were no cows in the field. So I'm guessing they said no. You know, cows. Can you trust them? I trust them better than politicians, that's for sure. CO Daily, don't be surprised that the victor only brings in about 40% of the vote. Matter of fact, JMD, let me tell you what. 34% of the vote. We bring in 34% of the vote, we win. I'm confident in that. And it could be as little as 26%, but 34% is our real super magic number. And that is very possible. It is very attainable. Because, see, not everybody's going to vote. You know, we're probably looking at maybe 50% participation. I think it's going to be low because people don't like who's running for governor. I mean, in general. So a lot of people just aren't going to vote. They're going to be like, man, I don't like any of I don't know these guys, and I don't like those guys. I'm just not going to vote for governor. No vote for other things. That's probably what's going to happen. And when that happens, well, with the NEVs, The non-affiliated voter totals is like 1,017,000 people. Okay. And we get half of them out, 500,000, we win. Yep. And actually, that'll probably be an even bigger chunk than 34% in the end. But like I said, it's a matter of getting NEVs to the point where they know they can actually do something. So they feel like there's nothing they can do. They're totally out. And I'm telling them they're not. But they got to step it up. You got to get involved. Let's see. So let me go back over here. I have some of the commercials I was going to show everybody. But yeah, that whole interview with Drazen was just a joke. And when she was on the Laura Ingraham show briefly on Fox, again, it was lackluster. You know, it didn't have any, you know. Let's see. She talked about, and she's blaming it all on failed leadership. No, what it is this: it's not so much. There is failed leadership, yes, but it's also just failed policy. People with their personal agendas. Kotek thinks that the whole state of Oregon supports everything she's ever done. She really thinks this way. And no, we don't. And the other thing is, she was talking about that this roadmap of hers to Oregon's future is to have this conversation with Oregonians and be really clear this absolutely is solvable. She goes on to say, it's very important to me to really get out there and talk to Oregonians about this, about the changes they want to see and how we're going to accomplish it in a very tangible way. Tangible again. And that's what the roadmap allows us to do. Okay, I got news for you, Drazen, you Ditzel Fritz. Why aren't you been talking to him for the last 2 years? Wait a minute. That's right. You've been a legislator for what, 4 or 6 years now, right? Total? When in that 6 years have you been talking to people to find out what they really want? The answer is you haven't. See, I've been talking to people for many, many years now. I know what they want. I know what we need. That's why I have the contract with Oregon. I've outlined it. Not just a subject outline, detailed outline about what we're going to do there. What have you done in all the time that you've been paid to do this stuff? I don't get paid to do this stuff, but you do. So, again, I guess she's got plans to talk to all the people after she gets in office. Okay, so everybody, should she actually win the day, you let me know just how many of you that she talks with, okay? Because one thing is, you can't even call her to talk with her. You can call and talk to me. I answer calls all the time. And people are shocked when I answer the phone, which is kind of funny. But we have great conversations, great insight, great suggestions, and that's what's important. And she talks about working with a Democrat-controlled state legislature to reach reasonable approaches to issues. First of all, she hasn't been able to do that while she's been the House minority leader. What makes her think she could do that as governor? Really? No. Again, she's way out of where she should be. So let's move on out of that. Okay. Because Drazen, there's so much stuff. I mean, her history, the documentation of everything. She sold out our Second Amendment. Every gun owner in Oregon, when she refused to block SB 554. Oh, yeah, that was her. House Bill 2928, redistricting police, or restricting police, I'm sorry. Restricting police, yep. Voted to restrict the methods and tools police can use to stop riots. Wonderful. You're going to go out there with good intentions, Christine? I'd like to see you out on the front lines in front of those police. And you could just, can't we all just get along? Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So you know what? Yeah, why don't you go do that? And then revisit this House bill. Because I'll tell you right now, law enforcement, when it comes to riots, destroying property, injuring people, sorry, force begets force. That's how it has to be. Stripping crime victims of rights. I mean, we have a serial rapist that's about to be released, and I mean, he's 63 years old, I think now. So I don't think he's going to be too much of a threat, really, exactly. But the victims, what about the victims? They're not happy about this at all. He got convicted on one of the rapes, but they knew that he'd committed a bunch of others, but the statute of limitations had already passed. So he didn't really get prosecuted for those, even though they knew he was guilty of them. See, I don't think there should be a statute of limitations on rape or murder, which I don't think there's statute of limitations on murder. There's a number of crimes that don't have a statute of limitations, but apparently rape does, which I think is criminal in itself. That needs to be addressed. The whole installing the transgender agenda in schools, House Bill 2023 and 3294. Yep, she voted to mandate transgender curriculum in school no later than 2026. She also voted to force all schools to put the tampon machines in the boys' bathroom. She claims she didn't realize that's what it said or what it meant. Again, we're back to that. So, Christine Drazan, are you going to plead stupid again? Betsy Johnson's done it. I guess you've done it now. Enabling potential election fraud, House bill. She voted to prevent the state from cleaning the voter rolls. Thanks a lot, Christine. I guess you might be part of the good old boy club and you're on the inside track now, right? They're already rigging it for you to win. Is that what you think? You also sponsored and voted for a bill to force taxpayers to pay for the stamps on mail-in ballots. Guy, it's real simple, Christine. We save money across the board. People come in and fill out your ballots and turn them in person. Go back to the paper ballots. Go back to the county clerk, the voting districts. Break them down, no more than 1,000, and we have a single day for voting. People do it in person with their valid ID. She's back the woke agenda. House Concurrent Resolution 11. She voted to change the words of the Oregon State song to include the terms "free men" because it wasn't politically correct. She also voted to ban oil and natural gas exploration through fracking in Oregon. Guys, I got news for you. Oregon has oil and gas, and we can use it to help our state. You want to reduce the cost of living, energy, gasoline. We can do it right here in our own state. But these people won't let it happen. You know, the Gateway Pundit uncovered the twisted campaign finance trail of Christine Drazan, which happens to be funded by many of the same deep-pocketed special interest PACs that also fund the Democrat candidates of Tina Kotek and Betsy Johnson. If you've seen the picture, it's got all three of them wearing the racing outfits, and they all have the same sponsors on their uniform. This is the kind of stuff that people just don't know about, and it's up to all of us to educate them. Don't back down. Now, something I was made aware of, there's a gal, she was driving in Portland. She was doing some errands and stuff, and she heard a couple of gunshots in downtown Portland, and then she was trying to kind of get away. She wasn't sure where it was coming from, and she was trying to kind of get away from where it was at, and then 3 more shots, and one of these shots literally went through here and out her nose, so all the way through her nose. And if she'd been a millisecond or two faster, she would be dead. Not even a question. And nobody was caught. So somebody fires over 5 shots downtown Portland, and nobody knows who did it. No camera systems down there? Or are the police even investigating? I don't know. But she didn't feel that anybody's going to be captured or caught for this. She's able to drive further down the road, finally got out, and was able to get some help from other motorists. This is a sorry, sad state of Portland. You know, and by the way, the defunding of police, the defunding of the gun violence reduction unit, right? That's one of the things that was defunded. And the shootings it tripled in Portland. Shootings tripled in Portland because of their whole defund the police thing. And by the way, Drazan and all of them were part of that. Yeah. They allowed legislation that allowed for this stuff to happen. You know, where's the district attorney? Where are the police? You know, more violence is being allowed to propagate. And, you know, where's this going to end? It's going to take, there was 673 shooting incidents from January to June of 2022 in Portland. 673. You want to know why nobody's going to Portland? I'll tell you why. 673 shooting incidents in 6 months. Yeah, that's a pretty good deterrent for Portland, and why a lot of Portland businesses are leaving. Oh, by the way, that includes progressive businesses too. See, the thing about businesses is they're owned by all kinds of different people. and they're all affected by this woke agenda. Although some don't want to call it that, but they just, oh, I'm just going to move. I'm going to take my business somewhere else. So, maybe this is part here in Portland. It's part of the reclamation project, where they're trying to turn the clock back in Oregon like 100, 150 years. But even the Wild West wasn't this wild in Oregon. Way to go, Portland. You just made a new record. Now, there's been kind of a, it was rather interesting. I thought it was kind of cool. It was a huge sociological observation from Oregon's crime wave and drug experimentation, was to witness a wave of never seen before crimes in terms of type and scale. I know. See, Oregon has created new crime. Yeah. There's the perennial pooper. Multnomah County Police are on the hunt for a suspect who has dropped over 500 human waste piles at various points in the Portland metro area. I'm betting it's not just him, but it's probably a few different people. Then there's the mass tree killer. And the mass tree killer, I guess the tree serial killer, they're labeling him the Gresham Lumberjack. He's suspected to have cut down as many as 750 trees around the Gresham portion of the Springwater corridor. The forest fiend cuts trees near hiking paths and does not take the wood. It is pure nature sabotage. Well, we're all the environmentalists trying to stop him, right? They can go out there and find him and say, hey, you stop that. Yeah. You think somebody cutting down a bunch of trees out there with a chainsaw, somebody would figure out who this person was. That just seems like really weird. Then we have, of course, you guys, I know you love this, the mass naked parading. They used to call them streakers. But those streakers were, point A to point B, streaking, and then they departed. These guys just kind of hang around. They're not really running anywhere. So although any given large city in America may witness a naked vagrant every now and then, Portland is experiencing a surge in such incidences. So this is really not a pretty sight, guys. And then this one blew me away, the bed napping trespassing. So a few weeks ago, a Portland woman found a homeless person sleeping in her child's bedroom. After the owner kicked her out of the house, the homeless vagrant went down the street, broke into another person's house to sleep. The same homeless person also used another home's front porch along the street as a toilet. Our governor and our legislature has literally created a bigger and bigger homeless problem for this state. They've literally been inviting homeless here with, House Bill or ballot measure 110, because I don't really believe Oregonians really wanted heroin and cocaine and everything to be legal. But because of this, it's made Portland especially a drug capital of the country. And on top of it all, we have governors in other states shipping their homeless to Portland. Yeah, got a little problem with that. So then there's the tire slashing trend in Portland. They've had like 5 different tire slashing waves involving multiple vehicles. And I think they got a beat on this person because there's a photograph of them and they blocked out the face. So I'm pretty sure they found who it was. It was a man, and he had slashed the tires on 50 vehicles in a single weekend. And for those of you, listen, I can't afford to replace my tires every other day, much less even every other year. I know if you're like me, we get all the mileage we can get out of our tires before we buy new tires. Yeah. And then, of course, the biggest one, the catalytic converter mass theft. Lake Oswego, a single home was found to have had 3,000 stolen catalytic converters, which was actually part of a larger crime ring that had stolen over 40,000 catalytic converters. Well, it's nice to know they were caught, right? So I can't wait to see how many people go to jail and what they have to pay for everything. It's getting crazy out there, folks. I know. And unfortunately, we get to deal with it. Let's see. So what else we got over here? It's about 40% of it. Yeah, like I said, JMD, I think you're right on. I think it's going to be even less than that, to be honest. Democrat governor and Democrat secretary of state, the mayor. It's all bad, JMD. These guys, and the worst part is Ted Wheeler. Most people don't know this, but he used to be the treasurer of Oregon. And as the treasurer of Oregon, he lost like, I can't remember, was it I think over $160 million? Yeah, I mean, he was terrible. And then they went and made it. He's also a trust fund baby, right? So he's got money out the wazoo. He doesn't need to be in politics or anything. And yet, there he is. There we go. Comfortable sharing your address. Please ping me and I can email you more. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, if you need other flyers or anything, you can always email LD, instant messenger with your email address. She can help out there too. Yes, day one, as governor, the Oregon China Council vanishes. They'll be shut down and moved out of this state back to China. And by the way, when you go look at the people that run the Oregon China Council, it's mostly Chinese people. My question is, how many of them are actually citizens of this nation? Yeah, good question. Bring it back to small towns. There we go. Let's hit. There you go. You want to go with me and demand to talk to someone at the Fox News about Paul? Hey, that'd be awesome. I've been calling, I've been emailing, you name it. So Drayson is downplaying a Republican Party affiliation. Again, listen, Drayson's. Do you know what happened to the last person that did that? Newt Bueller. You know what happened? He lost. Here's another one for you. Fun fact. Everybody that Phil Knight has thrown money to has lost. He threw over $2 million to Betsy Johnson. He threw another $1 million at Drazen recently. Yeah, I got news for you. They both stand to lose. And with a good write-in campaign, guys, and all the help we can get grassroots-wise, we can win this. This is the one time we can truly win this. Let's see. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, take care, Pat. Thanks a lot. And I need to wrap this up too. Oh gosh. I have his information. Hold on one second. Where did that go? I got to go find it. Flying Eagle Woman. Yeah, I'll go find that again because I know I got that handy. Actually, I posted it in the Lion's Den. If you go to Lion's Den on Telegram and scroll back a little bit, you'll find it. Yep. And I don't think they said where he's going to be released. I'm sorry, I don't recall his name. Let's see. That's right. I do too, Becky. But we don't cheat around here. We play by the rules. Yes, I agree, Flying Eagle Woman, that the ballot measure 110, they fixed that. They rigged it, just like they've done everything else. They wanted it. Oregonians didn't, but they made it pass. Yeah, let me tell you something, Jennifer, in regard to Tulsi Gabbard. So all of a sudden now, she comes out as this lieutenant colonel, high-ranking officer in U.S. military intelligence, psychological operations command, leaving the Democrat Party. Yeah, nothing's quite like, leaving things when the getting's good, right? No. I don't trust anybody who has been with the Democratic Party for, say, like 20 years, Betsy Johnson, and now all of a sudden you become an independent, non-affiliated voter just to be able to get yourself on the ballot as opposed to Tini Kotek. What was the real deal there? Is to actually bail out of the race at the last minute and give all your votes to Tini Kotek? Let me tell you what. Anybody who's been in a party for a long period of time and joins the opposite party, you're going to have to get the equal amount of time and do the right job for that period of time, and a little extra, to convince me that's where you really stand. So with Tulsi Gabbard, I've had a couple people approach me with this stuff. Oh, look, she switched to our team. Yay. Really? She's PSYOPs person, psychological operations. She's involved in that stuff. Don't be so gullible. Please. Proof's in the pudding, right? So until she performs it, a long period of time, and we can trust her in it, okay, I'll give her a due. Until then, am I just going to embrace? Oh, it's wonderful. You've come over to the Republican side of the fence. Are you really a conservative, though? Are you constitutionalist? Really? Are you sure? Well, you've been working for the Democrats for how long, and what have you been doing over there? Guys, sorry, I'm just not going to trust her, and especially with her background. It's kind of like Betsy Johnson. When I found out she actually was a director on the Federal Reserve Board out of Portland, man, I would never vote for her for nothing. That's like the ultimate disqualifier. Think about it, right? Let's see, what else we got? Oh, thank you, Vicky. I'll check that out as soon as I get done here. Wow. Okay, Donna. Yep. Because I think I got your stuff in here too. Yeah, like I said, I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard at all. No, she's got to earn that trust. She doesn't just get it when she jumps over the fence. Think about it. So for those who keep pushing her on me, I've had a lot of people sending me, oh, this is great. This is wonderful news. Yay, yay. No, you can't trust people like that. I got a real problem with Alex Skarlatos. He wasn't the hero of that event. If you watch the movie, you'd find that out. But they keep pushing it like he was the guy. He wasn't. Yeah, exactly right. She has to earn it, and it's going to take some time to do that. But at the same time, there are people that actually, say GOP files complaint over illegal Kotek conduct. Oh, yeah, I heard about this. It may be a little bit of a reach, but I think there's a lot of impropriety going on, especially when it comes to the illegal elections and how they're being manipulated, and whether it's Facebook or Twitter or whoever's doing the manipulation. And then understand something, people. Don't just jump on the first thing that sounds good, right? I've been doing this for almost 2 years. I've been explaining things to people, answering the questions, just being as transparent as I possibly can be. I'm trying to set that bar. And so that it was, you know what, Christine Drake, you don't answer questions like Paul Romero does. You don't give us the actual details of what you're going to do. And we know where you're getting your money from, which automatically questions that. We know your history, and you're playing it off like you're not guilty of anything. No, you've not been representing us. And in your legislature, you weren't representing your people. That's right. Especially when it comes to the Second Amendment. So here's another thing, guys. None of these people support the Second Amendment like I do. For me, it's very simple. Shall not be infringed. Any law that we passed that infringes in any way on our Second Amendment rights must be nullified. Period. And as governor, that's what I'm going to do. And on that basis. So that's what you do. Yeah. What's funny is this, Rob Taylor report. Oh gosh, he's losing every bit of credibility he has. He basically he's just supporting Drazen, even though he knows she's a super rhino. He knows all this stuff, and yet that's what he's doing. But here's the thing. See, for me, he told me, oh, hey, I'd like to interview you again. Yeah, right. Every time I go on his show, it's just an ambush. The good news is I've won every time. And all those people that he's brought up against me, well, where are they? Hiding under a rock somewhere. So with Rob Taylor, we contacted him and said, well, my earliest opening I have is not till November 7th. Like, that's going to help me at all. Really? That's just, yeah, no. So if you get a chance, give Rob Taylor report a call and say, you know what? You really need to have Paul Romero on. Let him talk about what he's doing, what's happened, where he stands in contract with Oregon, all those good things he's going to do for Oregon, even though you have a personal dislike of the man. And is his personal dislike for any legitimate reason? No. Matter of fact, I heard that Rod Taylor, running for county commissioner, his problem with me is that he He didn't like how I spoke about a lady friend of his. Now, I don't know what lady friend he's talking about, and I'm not even sure what exactly it is he claims I said that he didn't like. But here's the thing, guys. When it comes to talking about, well, candidates, what do? I give you the truth. You don't like the truth? That's your problem. But it's still the truth. And if anything I've ever told you is this, I will always tell you the truth. If I don't, then I totally compromise myself. I got to hold myself to that standard. I don't get to hold anybody else to that standard, just myself. So that's what I'm going to do. And when people like them, Rod Taylor and Rob Taylor, birds of a feather, oh yeah, keep that in mind. And go ask Rob Taylor. Rob Taylor. I guess he used to work for Rod Taylor. It's odd though; they seem to hide this information. Wonder why. Let's see. The Anunnaki are responsible for every hurricane trend. No more Anunnaki. Barry, you're cracking me up, man. Boy, the day I see one of them, yeah, I want to make sure I'm armed. That's hard to know which way that might actually go. Yeah. Interesting comment, though, to say the least. I believe I read she is going independent, which makes sense as she has hit hardline stance of both extreme left and extreme right. Yeah, I just, it's hard to trust politicians, people that have made it their life career in politics to do that type of thing. It's like, what, it took you how many years to figure out that you were the opposite of what you were? That would mean you're an idiot. So, no, we're trying to get rid of the idiots out of politics. Yeah, I know, it's hard, but you got to try. Let's see. Drayson did vote to mandate transgender curriculum in schools by 2026. Yep, that is true. So, the truth about all these kids, I mean, it's undeniable. Nobody can argue against it, and they don't dare. As a matter of fact, they're trying to ignore these things. So remember this, guys. What they don't talk about is as important as what they do talk about. What they do talk about exposes them in a lot of ways, but what they don't talk about also exposes them. All three of them will not talk about China. They will not talk about the Oregon-China Council. They will not talk about Agenda 2030. They will not talk about the new taxes going to be levied on Oregonians come probably next year. Okay? And that has to do with in the form of the universal health care for Oregonians. Right? So then you'll never have to pay for health care ever again. You're paying for it. Trust me. And then the other issue, of course, is business taxes and not doing anything that actually helps Oregonians keep more money in their pockets so it makes it easier for them to live. They won't talk about it. They won't discuss it. They won't answer those questions. They will sidestep them every time. I wish I could provide all the questions at the next debate. And I'll answer them right alongside them. So if you want to challenge somebody out there, say, you know what? You got to let Paul Romero come on and debate them. Let him bring some questions to the table. Because I'll tell you right, they won't want to answer those questions. They're going to, well, I've supported our relationships with foreign countries, so da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, okay. Yeah, to the detriment of Oregonians. Great. That makes you a traitor. Congratulations. So, yep, New Green Deal. She supported that too. Oh, I know, Dina. They are scared to death. And the thing is, they're more scared to death of all of you. Because, see, all of you, when you write in Paul Romero for governor, and if that comes to pass, they're going to freak out. You wait. Here's my prediction. When that happens, they're going to find every way they can to try to cancel my candidacy. And the first thing they're going to do is going to claim, well, you already ran in a party race, therefore you can't. That's a sore loser clause thing or something like that. But actually, it's still right in Canada, so you still do it. But they may try to change it. The fact is that the election that the Secretary of State counted, which was wrong, I wasn't even in that race. I wasn't even considered as a candidate. And that's documented. So, no. Now, the real race we ran would have put me that I was elected by the members of the Constitutional Party of Oregon. That should have put me on the ballot. But the Secretary of State violated my rights and violated Oregon state law, undue influence on a candidacy, but not upholding the law they already upheld on my first complaint. That's just how. So you can't even say that they're stupid. Basically, all you can really say is they manipulated it. They obviously knew what they were doing, and that's what they did. So, um, yes, taxes are theft. I have to agree with that. And the Oregon swamp might need a few sticks of metaphorical dynamite, you know. And part of that dynamite is writing me in for governor. So, all right, folks, well, I got to wrap this up. I got to get some food. I got to get a few emails out. Thank you for being here. Please share. Please share the videos that we've been posting on Facebook, on Telegram. It's information on the history of Drazen and Kotek and Johnson. It's the fact that all three of them are taking money from the same organizations. That was a great one, by the way. And just convince me. It's like, listen, stop voting for the lesser of three evils. Stop doing it. I know it's pissed you off in the past. It pisses you off now. Stop doing it. Make a conscious choice and give me a shot. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. So anyway, good night, everybody. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for your support, and thank you for the efforts you're making in contacting voters. We got this. Just keep on. One foot in front of the other. Baby steps if necessary, but one foot in front of the other. All right? Never give up. Never surrender. Good night, folks.